Hello everyone, I'm Jacob Kaufman, I'm the nerd on the street, and today we are installing one of these operating systems. So, the new version of Ubuntu came out yesterday. That is version 15.10, because it is the 10th month of the year 2015. And so, I'm due for a reinstall. If you don't know, I stopped using Antergos a while ago. Not for any particular reason other than I wanted to try out KDE Plasma 5, and so I've been using Ubuntu 15.04 for the past 6 months or so. Maybe not exactly 6 months, maybe like 4 or 5, but overall I've been pretty happy with Ubuntu, and I still maintain that Antergos was a really nice experience, and I'll still probably go back to that eventually. But right now I don't have a lot of free time to deal with things like, tech problems, computer problems. So I like to stick with Ubuntu for the time being. Not to say that Antergos was giving me any problems. I probably shouldn't have even said it that way at all. But yeah, long story short, I've been using Ubuntu. Basically, I'm adjusted to it at this point, and I like hype, and I'm hyped up for the new version of Ubuntu. So, I was having trouble deciding between Ubuntu and Ubuntu GNOME. Because Ubuntu, great KDE experience, but I remember last time I was using Ubuntu GNOME, equally good GNOME experience there. And then I also remember before I was even using Ubuntu GNOME, I was using plain old Ubuntu, and that was giving me absolutely zero trouble at all. Ubuntu Mate, I have not used that as my operating system on my computer, but I have used it as my primary operating system on my laptop. And then of course we've got Xubuntu, or Xubuntu, however you want to say it, and Lubuntu. Xubuntu, of course, is based off of XFCE, or it includes XFCE. Lubuntu includes LXDE for now. Eventually, Lubuntu is going to start including LXQT instead, and I'll probably be more eager to try it out then. But until then, as you can see, Ubuntu, Ubuntu GNOME, Kubuntu, and Ubuntu Mate, all four of those are really polished, really nice operating systems. The first three distributions on this list, I should say distributions, they're all the same operating system. The first three distributions on this list are full-fledged distributions meant for, everybody's desktop computers. Ubuntu Mate actually sort of falls in with the last two distros here. Ubuntu Mate, though, I know from personal experience that Ubuntu Mate has a lot more polish put into it than either of the other distros on here, and that's understandable because GNOME 2, it went through years and years of polishing before it was, transitioned into Mate, and GNOME 3 was the new GNOME. It's understandable that Ubuntu Mate is more polished because, yeah, GNOME 2 was super polished, and that's why a lot of people liked it. So, the first four of these operating systems, I have no problem with using those. I'm not quite as excited about the new versions of Xubuntu and Lubuntu, especially for another reason. Both of these are kind of using old libraries, especially Xubuntu is using GTK2 libraries, not GTK3 libraries. So, I'd be okay with using either of those as a desktop operating system. It'd be an experience for sure, something I haven't tried before, but if I do land on either of those, then, alright, maybe I should back up. I've got a die here. There's 6 distros, 6 main Ubuntu distros, 6 sides on a die. So I'm going to roll this die in just a minute, right in front of you guys, and I'm going to see which one of these I'm going to be using for the next few months. And if I land on 5 or 6, if I land on Xubuntu or Lubuntu, then I will flip a coin. I've got a quarter here. It is Wyoming, in case you were wondering. Wyoming 1890. It's a 2007 quarter. I guess 1890 is when Wyoming was founded. Anyway, I've got a quarter here, and I will be flipping that to determine if I am using this or this. And I've already written on here, heads will be whatever is on this side, and tails will be Ubuntu Studio, which I think it uses XFCE. Basically, the only thing Ubuntu Studio would do for me is I would not have to install all of my programs that I usually have to install, such as Kdenlive, Inkscape, GIMP. So yeah, that's another option there. So the bottom of the board, I'm not quite as excited about as the top of the board, but if I land on those, then I'm going to use them. And yeah, you'll just have to trust me that I'm not recutting the video or anything to end up with the operating system that I want. I came up with this idea because I was indecisive about which of these to try. So without further ado, I will go ahead and roll. And we came up number 6, Lubuntu. Okay. That would be really interesting. Now we're going to flip a coin, so if this coin lands on heads, I'm going to be using Ubuntu. If it lands on tails, I'm going to be using Ubuntu Studio. I kind of hope it lands on tails. Okay, it's on tails. Alright, so I will be installing Ubuntu Studio in this video. That threw me for a loop. Okay. Almost had to use Ubuntu for the next few months. And in fact, I'm actually tempted to go back and reshoot this, because I'd rather use one of the top ones than Ubuntu Studio. You know what? I'm gonna stick with it. This was the game. So here we go. I'm going to go and download Ubuntu Studio. Alright, so here we are on the desktop. Once again, I'm installing this on my main desktop. Yes, there are some ways possible that I could record this with an HDMI capture card, but the capture card is in the computer that I'm installing this on. And the computer that I'm installing this on also has a water cooler in it, so it's a pain to open it up at this point. So yeah, we're going to install. I'm going to use the camera to record. Sorry, at least this is something that I've never done on this channel before. I've never used Ubuntu Studio, actually. I've just never used it. It seemed kind of gimmicky in the past. It's, I've always kind of thought, you know, Ubuntu Studio comes with XFCE, so if I wanted to use XFCE, I would just use Xubuntu or Xubuntu or however you want to say it, and then I would just install all of my programs myself afterwards. Alright, that restart button wasn't working. Let's go ahead. Terminal works best in KDE. The restart buttons don't always work in KDE version 5. But yeah, I've never used Ubuntu Studio because, yeah, I've always thought Ubuntu Studio is tailored to people who do media things, which I do. Oh, I don't think I hit the button I needed to, so we'll go ahead and restart again. But yeah, I've always thought, you know, if I want media programs, I'll just install them myself, but I'd rather have a more lean base. But yeah, I've thought about trying it out before. It's been in the back of my head, so I decided to put it on the board, like you guys saw, and it happened to come up. So, Data Traveler, okay, great. Thanks, Unet Bootin. Clearly didn't work. Let's see what else is in our boot menu. I mean, we can try generic storage. Nope. Yeah. Alright. Okay, Unet Bootin sucks. It has been a long time since I've seen Unet Bootin actually work. So I will have to reboot into Linux and copy that on myself. So let me do that real quick. Alright, so just in case any of you are following along at home, I thought it might be useful to show you how I'm doing this. Like I said, I tried using the program Unet Bootin, but I have not seen that work in a long time. I don't know why I tried it today. Guess I was just feeling a little lazy and I didn't want to open the terminal up. But here we go. dd bs equals 4 megabytes if equals. Alright, so we're using the dd command to copy this. If is what we're copying from, so home/jacob/downloads/Ubuntu Studio, the ISO image, and then of equals /dev/ crap, I forgot to check which partition this actually is. So we will open up another terminal and lsb, okay. Alright, 7.5 gigs, this is an 8 gig flash drive, SDD1. So dev/SDD1. Oh, we're not supposed to do /SDD1, we're just supposed to do /SDD. Alright, like, it used to be easy to install Linux. And honestly, like, people make a big deal, pro Linux people, such as myself, make a big deal out of how easy it is to install Linux, you know, once you've got it booted up into the live install environment. But just making the freaking USB drive should not be that difficult. And it is sad how Unet Bootin, I don't know if it's unmaintained or what, but it really doesn't work very well. And there's no other good tools out there for easily making USB drives, you know? Every single Linux distribution comes with a program to install an ISO image, or to write an ISO image to a DVD. But for people who don't want to use a DVD on a Linux installer, for people who want to use flash drives, I think that every single Linux distribution should come with a GUI front end to DD, or something else that will write an ISO image to a flash drive easily. Because it's just kind of, yeah, sad and annoying how everything else in Linux is pretty much perfect at this point. We don't have any other, other complaints other than, I don't know, graphics performance with the free and open source drivers, or whatever else people want to complain about. To complain about any of that, you need to get it installed in the first place. And yeah, it pisses me off how I've got like a 50% success rate with doing a USB drive creation on the first try. It usually takes me more than one try to do it. And I'm not a stupid person. I'm not, I was using the right command this time. After I tried to use unetbootin, I was using the right command on try 2. This will probably take a minute. Alright, so that's done. Took a couple minutes, but yeah. Wrote 2.5 gigabytes to a flash drive. So, restart computer. And let's see if it works this time. F10. Kingston. There we go. Alright, Ubuntu Studio. So we'll go ahead and try it without installing, because I'm doing something I haven't done in a little while. I used to do this every time I reinstalled operating systems. I would reformat my home partition hard drive. I've got my home partition on its own 2 terabyte hard drive. The system itself is installed to a 32 gig SSD. But yeah, I usually reformat the hard drive. I'm not actually going to reformat it, but I am going to go in and delete most of the files, just so that I have, fresh preferences, and I've got a fresh, fresh documents folder, a fresh videos folder, all that stuff. I'm going to leave a few stuff. I'm going to leave, like, my YouTube archive folder, since the YouTube archive is something that doesn't really change, and I want to be able to access any of my videos at any point in time. But that was nice and quick. Like I said, this is using XFCE, so I expect it to be very quick on this computer, because this is a really high-end computer, or at least a moderately high-end computer. Mainly I'm worried about polish, honestly. With this distro, just a little worried about how it looks, but it doesn't look too bad actually starting out. Doesn't look too bad at all. So we'll go ahead and open up File Manager. Just had a little flicker there. We don't have the NVIDIA driver installed yet, so alright. Yeah, we need to open up the file manager as root. Thunar should be our file manager, yep, because we are using XFCE. So, delete the audiobooks folder, delete the desktop folder, delete the documents folder. I've backed all of this up. Should be noted. Delete the downloads folder. I like how Thunar, it gives you the option to send it to the trash, but it also gives you the option to just delete, although I don't actually see the trash option right now. But yeah. And I am going to go and do all the hidden files in just a second, in case you were wondering. It is the middle of the school year, so I will not delete the school folder right now, because I'll just end up copying that entire thing back. We'll keep my VBox machines folder, because I use those. Videos we will delete. And then the YouTube archive, like I said, that is something that I'm just going to end up copying it right back, so there's no point in deleting it. I have backed up these things as well. Alright, so now we'll show hidden files, and we'll go ahead and delete all of the hidden files. The only hidden file that I backed up was my Kdenlive preferences file, because I've got some layouts that I have saved. Like the layout for editing the podcast that has all my audio tools out there for me to see. But yeah, I backed that up. So that is everything we need to do there. So we will unmount that now. Okay. So now we can go ahead, now we can go ahead and install Ubuntu Studio. So there's an icon on the desktop, install Ubuntu Studio 15.10. Does this come with Kdenlive? I think it might just come with OpenShot, but I prefer Kdenlive. So, audio production, graphic production, video production. It does come with Kdenlive, and OpenShot, and PTV. It also comes with DVD Styler, which I use, and Blender, which I dabble in. And it comes with Inkscape, it comes with, let's see. It comes with GIMP. Oh, it comes with ImageMagick, which I use. Does it come with Geeky? It doesn't look like it comes with Geeky, alright. But Geeky is kind of a niche program. It comes with Linux Multimedia Studio and Audacity, and MuseScore. Wow, it comes with MuseScore. Alright, so as you can see, the one advantage to Ubuntu Studio is, honestly, I'm more of a creative professional, or at least just as much of a creative professional as I am a computer professional. So, yeah, it comes with all the programs that I would have needed to install, although it comes with a lot of programs that I've never seen also. Okay, so, computer has available drive space, it's connected to the internet, download software, use third-party software, continue. There's a clock up here in our default. This is not the same setup, I don't think, as XFCE, or as Xubuntu. Xubuntu has the new XFCE menu rather than this classic one, I think. But yeah, I have nothing against XFCE. I've never used it as my main desktop before. Have I? I'm not sure. I might have used it as my main desktop when I was on my laptop, which would be over 3 years ago, before I had this computer at all. I might have used XFCE for a short time, but mainly I stuck with GNOME and KDE and Unity and Cinnamon. Not sure if I ever used XFCE or not, but I'm using it now, so yeah. We'll see how long I stick with this installation. Could be 6 months, could be 2 months, I don't know. It'll probably be close to the full 6 months that it's supported, actually. Because I've taken a liking to not... I've taken a liking, is that a correct phrasing? I've started to enjoy not reinstalling my operating system every 2 weeks. Less stressful. Alright, Ubuntu Studio installation options. We want the audio package, audio core, audio plugins, graphics, photography, publishing, video. We want all of it installed, so we'll just continue. I probably could get away with just video, honestly, but we'll just install it all because, yeah, who knows what I'll end up doing with this. Alright, so you can see there is an option to upgrade Ubuntu 15.04 to Ubuntu Studio 15.10. I've got Kubuntu installed right now, but it recognizes that it's Ubuntu. So we're going to do our own partition. I always pretty much do my own partition layout, especially in this computer. There's also a Windows hard drive in this computer. I want to be extra careful that we don't, yeah, see Windows 10, I don't want to mess that up. So, ext4, this currently has our Kubuntu installation on it. We'll go ahead and use as ext4, format, and mount as root. Continue. It's strange that it's writing the changes and formatting that partition right now. I didn't even click install now yet. Okay, alright. So formatted, and yeah, I'm going to use that. And then this is our 2 terabyte home partition. We are going to use it as an ext4 filing, journaling file system /home. We will mount it as, we will not format because I do want to keep those 3 folders that I have on there. It's like probably for 300, 400 gigs total. I just don't have to deal with copying those back on there. But yeah, so we won't format it, but we will use it and mount it. Okay, so don't touch the NTFS drive. This one uses /home, but don't format. This one use as root and format. And we will install the bootloader. I guess we'll just keep it on the default, which is the Windows hard drive. Yeah, we'll just keep it on there. If anything happens with the bootloader, I've dealt with broken bootloaders before, so I think right now the bootloader is on the Windows hard drive. So yeah. No swap space. I always see this message. This is weird that it's so wide. Normally okay. So a really wide dialog box. But yeah, I usually don't use swap space because I've heard that you don't normally want to use swap space on SSDs because it's bad for them. And I've got 16 gigs of RAM in here, so I'm not too worried about running out of RAM. Now that does mean that when I run out of RAM, the computer freezes and does not unfreeze, ever. Or eventually it might, but basically I'm going to end up putting a widget on my desktop to monitor my RAM usage, and I'm always very careful not to run out of RAM, because since I don't have swap space, it's a bad time when I run out of RAM. So it detected our time zone. Here's our keyboard layout. Continue. My name is Jacob Kaufman. Computer's name i7 workstation. Pick a username, Jacob, password, and require my password to log in. Yes, continue. Okay, thank you for choosing Ubuntu Studio and welcome to the installation. In this slideshow we will present a few features which make Ubuntu Studio the perfect companion for artists. Continue. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever used an operating system geared toward, I think, production people. Other than I've used AV Linux, which was great. AV Linux was absolutely amazing, but I only used it on its live installer. I didn't actually install it on my computer because it only came in 32-bit distributions. It didn't have a 64-bit version. Alright, so let the world hear you. This is the audio section for recording an album, podcast editing, or scoring a film. Hey, displaced. I'll be scoring for that. Includes applications. Ardor is, yeah, digital audio workstation. Not quite sure how to use that. I usually just stick to Audacity for, recording and audio editing. And then Kdenlive, I've been using for this season's displaced editing. But, yeah, it doesn't say anything about the MIDI programs yet. Create amazing videos, which is what I'm doing right now. Kdenlive and OpenShot. Honestly, I'm not too big of a fan of OpenShot. I like Kdenlive a lot better. Especially because the development team on Kdenlive is actually active, unlike the OpenShot one-man development team. And then Blender comes with this too. Graphic artists and designers. It's interesting that it includes Blender under both videos. It says Blender Sequence Editor and Compositing, and then it also includes it under graphics. And here it just calls it a content creation suite, a 3D content creation suite. So yeah. Inkscape I definitely use. I use Inkscape to make pretty much all the graphics for Nerd on the Street, including our thumbnails, our logos. I use it to clip out the pictures I use for the green screen background. So yeah, and then photographers don't actually do much with my pictures. I've never organized my pictures in Shotwell or anything. Never really gotten into that. I just organize it in the file system and get more applications. Comes with the Ubuntu Software Center, which we all know is the best software center ever. Not really. The Ubuntu Software Center is pretty slow. But thank you for installing. And yeah, IRC channel. I thought about dropping into the IRC channel just to see if Ubuntu Studio was active, but I saw some recent forum posts on the Ubuntu Studio forums, so I knew that I just wanted to check and make sure that the distro was actually active, which it seems to be. So we can expand this, see what's going on. Alright, installation is finished. That was pretty quick for an Ubuntu installation, so we will go ahead and restart now, and we'll see if that worked or not. So, at this point, okay, remove the installation medium. Alright, removed our flash drive, set that over here, and press enter. Great. I was about to say I'll wait for this to shut down and then remove the USB drive, but good that they have the screen there that tells you to do it. So, BIOS password, and Ubuntu, low latency. Now, Ubuntu Studio, from what I understand, it actually comes with a low latency kernel that makes it better for audio production. I wasn't sure if it actually still came with that low latency kernel, or if that was an older version that came with a low latency kernel. But it looks like we can boot up with the normal kernel, or we can use the low latency kernel. So we'll use the default low latency kernel. And yeah, that won't actually do much in terms of like video rendering. From what I understand, that's mostly just for low latency audio, piping. between applications. So, Jacob Kaufman, type in. This is a very lackluster login screen, but you know, what do you really need from a login screen? You can't really see that very well, can you? What if I zoom in? What if I zoom in even more? There, now you can see it. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, just mainly a black screen here. And we'll log in. And this is Ubuntu Studio. Okay, looks just like it did on the live disk. So, we can open up Thunars, our file manager. This is super snappy, I have to say, because we're using XFCE. I was a little worried about the polish. Polish doesn't look too bad right now. I might go in and customize the theme a little bit or grab another theme. But yeah, we've got virtual desktops up here. And I have to say, all of these menus are loading super snappy, which is one thing that I like about using XFCE or Mate or other, you know, if it's a low-powered desktop environment on a high-powered computer, it's going to be a pretty good experience. So yeah, that's everything I wanted to do. You can see YouTube Archive, VBox machines, and school are still here, but all of my other folders are completely empty. So yeah, that is everything that I wanted to show you guys in this video, and I will keep you guys updated. I should, you know, I always say I'll keep you guys updated on this stuff. I might make a forum post or something about my experiences with this on the Nerd on the Street forums, of course. But yeah, I'll let you guys know. Looks like we have software updates available. Okay, we'll install those. So yeah, I'll let you guys know how this works out. I'm Jacob Kaufman, I'm the Nerd on the Street, and I will see you guys later. Bye.